for the first question, key things that I did first was to find the total ratio, which in our case will be 7 plus 11 plus 14. Hence the total will be 32. Okay, so children's ratio is actually 14. So 512 times 14 over 32. Then you'll be able to prove that children is 224. So find the numbers of men in the film. Okay, same method, just take 512 times 7 over 32, then you will get 112. So question B, find the total amount film company gives the children to spend and correct it to the nearest 100. So there's 224 children in total, so multiply 45, then you will get 10,080. However, you're required to correct to nearest 100, hence the final results will actually be 10,100. So part C, children, okay, is separated into groups that has no more than 12. Hence, just take 224 divide by 12. Okay, you will get 18.67. So you're actually required to round it up because there's no 18.67 group. Part D, write these numbers in figures. So it will be 4,093,000. And convert it into standard form. So I changed it into 4.093. Then I calculated how many times I shifted. So a total of 6 times. Hence 4.093 multiplied by 10 to the power of 6. Part E. Okay, a DVD copy costs 2.75 to make. So 8.2 minus 2.75 divide by 2.75, multiply it by 100, then you will get the final results of 198.18%. Question 2. Okay, for the first part, simply substitute the -2, -1, 0.5 and 1.5 into x position. Then you will get the respective value as 0, 4, 0.625 and 0.875 respectively. So with all these variables, you're able to draw out the graph now. Whereby for part C, draw a suitable line. Okay, so y is actually equivalent to x cubed minus 3x plus 2. Okay, so simply change this into y. Then you will get the new equation as y equals to x plus 1. So with that being said, I set the x value as 1 and 0.5 and I get the respective coordinate of y as 2, 1.5. So with that being said, we are now able to draw out another line and the intersection will be 0.25 and 1.8 respectively. Part D. By drawing a suitable tangent, estimate the gradient at the curve of the point where x equals to negative 1.5. So after I drew out the tangent line, I selected 2 points, which is negative 1.15, 4.5 and negative 1.75, 2.1. So you run the gradient formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, then you will get the gradient as 4. So question number 3, okay, so part A, simply key in the cumulative frequency that shown in the table, okay, and draw out the curve. So part B, number 1, find the median. So median is 50%. Simply takes 120 times 50%, then you get 60. So from the cumulative frequency 60, you drew it down and you will get the results as 33.5. Whereas for number 2, use your diagram to find the numbers of days when rainfall has more than 50 millimeters. So from 50 millimeters, you drew it up, okay, then you will get 107 days. So 120 minus by 107, then you will get 13 days has more than 50 millimeter rainfall. Part C. So you're required to find the respective frequency now. Okay, so from the cumulative frequency, you work it back, then you will get 5, 8, 59, 18, 27, and 3. So the next step for you to do question D is to find the midpoint of the interval. So it is 10, 22.5, 30, 37.5, 50, and 65. Okay, then multiply it by its respective frequency and divide them by 120. So the final results will actually be 35.17. Whereby for part E, this one is a frequency density question. So first thing that I did was I used the information given by the question for the interval 25 to 35. Okay, its frequency is actually 59 and the class interval is 10. So the results will be 5.9. So it is aligned with the information given by the question. Hence, I rule out the presence of scale factor. So you're not required to multiply the results you have gotten with any other variables. So for the group of 20 to 25, its frequency is 8 and its interval is 5. So the results will be 1.6. So for the following one, the results will be 1.35 and 0.3 respectively. Next question, question 4. So first thing first, the key information given is that AB is equivalent to AC. Okay, because it is a isosceles triangle. Hence 68. ABC's angle will be 68 and ACB will be 68 as well. So the remaining angle of BAC will actually be 44. So with this information, we can now use sine rule to find AC's length. Okay, so sine 44 over 1.2 equals to sine 68 over AC. So after the calculation, AC's results will actually be 1.6. Whereby for part B, okay, CD's length is 2.3, AD's length is 1.9. So for you to identify AC, okay, we use the information we have gotten earlier. Okay, so with all the presence of all three sides, okay, we can now use cosine rule and work it backwards to get angle ADCS 43.5. As for part C, the floor of the 10 triangle BCD is also an isosceles triangle with BD equals to CD. So I actually drew it out, okay, so you can have a better understanding on it. BC's value will actually be 1.2 and BD's value, okay, and CD's value is the same, hence they are both 2.3. So for you to find the area of the 10, you actually need the information of the height of this triangle. So I run a Pythagoras theorem. So the height will actually be square root of 2.3 square plus 0.6 square. So results will be 2.2. So for you to calculate the area of the floor, just take 1.2 times 2.22 times half, then you get the results as 1.332 meters squared. Whereby for part D, when the 10 is on a horizontal ground, A is vertical distance 1.25 meter above the ground. Okay, so we key in all the information that we know first. AD's value will be 1.9. Okay, and A to the ground is 1.25. So it's actually the opposite and hypotenuse towards the angle AD to the ground. So sine AD ground equals to 1.25 over 1.9. So by running the shifting, then you get the results as 41.14. So question number 5, part A. Okay, I actually separate this shape into two. Okay, I label it as 1 and 2 over there. So the area of the first part will actually be 2x times 3x minus 9. Whereby for the next one, it will actually be 4x times x plus 13. The reason why it is x plus 13 for the second shape is because the total height is actually 3x plus 13. So minus 2x from it, then you will get x plus 13 for the height of the second shape. So run the calculation, then you will get the results as 10x squared plus 34x minus 24. However, this is not the final results because you're required to simplify it by dividing everything by 2. Then you'll be able to prove the formula of 5x squared plus 17x minus 12 equals to 0. Okay, then factorize it. Okay, I use the cross multiple method and I get x value as 3 over 5 or negative 4. So for part B, this is some basic simultaneous equation, so I won't do any voiceover for this particular part. You can just refer to my working and sort it out. Whereby for part C, First, I combine the left-hand side's equation together by making their denominator t bracket t plus 3. Okay, so after you run the calculation, I get rid of the denominator by multiplying 1 to it. Okay, so the final results here will actually be 9t equals to negative 18, and t's final value will actually be negative 2. So for question 6, part A, number 1. So this is actually the angle from the same sector because the starting and ending point is the same. So ADB equals to ACB. So T's value will actually be 43. Whereby for part 2, first thing you need to know is that OY and OZ is both the circle's radius, hence they are the same. So OZY will actually be 28 as well. Value of YOZ will be 124. And W is actually half of YOZ's value, so the results will be 62 because angle at the center is twice the value of the angle at the circumference. Question 3. Okay, so this one, it is a cyclic quadrilateral, hence 5p plus p will equivalent to 180. So p's value after the calculation will be 30. So angle P is 30 because it is a cyclic quadrilateral where opposite angle add up, it will become 180 degree. So for part B, complete the statement PM to PQ. Okay, so PM is 1, whereby PQ is 2. So it is 1 to 2. ON is perpendicular from O to QR and PQ equals to QR. Complete the statement below. So OQ is the common side, MQ equals to NQ because M is the midpoint of PQ and N is the midpoint of RQ. So OM equals to ON because equal chords are equidistant from the center. So for question part A number 1, shape A onto shape B. This one is a rotation from a point 0 to of a 90 anti-clockwise rotation. So the tricky part for this one is to identify the center of rotation. Okay, so don't get tricked by it. Simply joining the dots. Okay, then you'll be able to find center of rotation as 0, 2. Whereby for shape A onto shape C, it is a reflection from the line y equals to 1. Whereby for shape A onto shape D, this one is an enlargement from the point of origin with a scale factor of -1/2. The reason why that's negative is because the image is inverted. Whereby for part B, find 2 times 2 matrix to represent the transformation in part A number 3. So this one will be -1/2, 0, 0, -1/2. So for question C on the grid, draw the translation with 2, -3. So actually do it over there, you can just refer to my drawings. Whereby for part D, describe fully a single transformation represented by this matrix. So it is a reflection where from the line y equals to x. So for all this, you can actually memorize it. So you can actually write it down and compile and make a note on it. Question number 8. Okay, so write down the coordinates of the midpoint of line AB. So 3 plus 5 divided by 2, 4 plus 8 divided by 2. So the respective coordinate will be 4, 6. So for part B, run the distance formula. Then you will get it as 4.47. So for part C, first thing you need to do to construct the equation is to find its gradient first. So after you run the gradient formula, you should be able to get m's results as 2. Okay, then I substitute 5, 8, which is point B, into the equation to identify C. So C in our case is -2. So the final results will be y equals to 2x minus 2. Whereby for part D, so first thing that I did was I took the gradient of the original line AB times the new gradient equals to -1. Hence the new gradient will actually be -1/2. So the equation goes by y equals to -1/2x plus 0. The reason why it is 0 is the y-intercept here passes through the origin, hence c equals to 0. Okay, then you can substitute 6 into the formula. Y equals to negative 1 over 2 times 6. So your y results will actually be negative 3. So question 9 here. Okay, this one is actually function question. So I won't do any voiceover for A, B, and C. Okay, because it is pretty straightforward. So let's move on to part D. So part D, you are required to separate these inequalities into two parts. So 1 less than 2x plus 5. Okay, after you run the calculation, x value will actually be more than negative 2. Whereby for the next inequalities, it will be 2x plus 5 less than equals to 9. So after you run the calculation, x will actually be less than equals to 2. So the final inequalities will be negative 2 less than x less than equals to 2. So the integer value that fulfill these inequalities will be negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So for question 10 part A. So for part A, as you can see, it is increased by 1 for each term. Hence, its sixth term will actually be 8. Whereby for part B, okay, it is odd numbers increase. So 16 plus 9, it will be 25. Whereby for C, it is relatively tricky. Okay, you're actually required to take B minus A to get C's value. So just take 25 minus by 8, then you will get 17. So for part B, Antum sequence. So first thing that I did was I identified the term by term difference. It's actually positive 1. Hence, for you to find the zero term, simply takes 3 minus by 1. Then you will get its results as 2. So the final Antum sequence will actually be 2 plus 1n, which equivalents to 2 plus n in our case. So for part C, number 1, okay, this one, I identify the term by term difference twice. Okay, so at the second row, their difference is the same. Hence, I'm allowed to use the formula, which goes by 2a equals to square 3a plus b equals to the triangle, and a plus b plus c equals to the square again. So I labeled them out so that you can identify the workings easily. So A's results will be 1, B will be negative 2, and C is 1. So the final equation goes by n squared minus 2n plus 1, and it is equivalent to n minus 1 squared. Whereby for part 2, find the value of it when n term sequence B is 8281. So just take n minus 1 squared equals to 8281, then square root it and run the calculation. N term will actually be 92. But for part D, find the nth sequence of C in the simplest form. So I took b minus a, which in our case translate into n squared minus 2n plus 1 minus bracket 2 plus n. So the results will be n squared minus 3n minus 1. And find the 8-term sequence of C. So substitute 8 into the equation that we have gotten. Then you will get the results as 39. The nth sequence D is negative 1 over 2 to the power of n minus 1. So run the calculation by substituting 2 into the formula. Then you will get first term as 1, second term as negative 1 over 2, third term as 1 over 4, and the fourth term as negative 1 over 8. So thank you for watching. I hope you find this video helpful. If you have friends that happen to struggle at solving all this past year, feel free to share our channel to them. So I wish you all the best in your exam preparation. Thank you.